Welcome to the 76 Capital Leadership Series. My name is Wayne Kimmel, and I'm your host, as well as the managing partner of 76 Capital. And today we have an amazing guest. I'm so excited to bring on a friend and someone who just loves sports and is involved in the sports business industry from the hospitality side and all the really cool things that he's done in his career personally. So I'm really excited about that. And as you know, on our 76 Capital Leadership Series, we're all about bringing on the entrepreneurs, the athletes, the executives who are truly doing the next thing in the sports industry. And that's why we love doing this here at 76 Capital. So our great producer back in the studio is James Santor. You can follow James at James Santor. He's a great follow on Twitter. You can obviously, follow 76 Capital. You can see that on your screen if you're watching our show. And if you're listening to us on a podcast, go to at Wayne Kimmel to follow me or at 76 Capital to follow 76 Capital. But this show is all about bringing in people who are truly innovators, who are doing the next thing, who have done things in their careers that we all are so excited about hearing how they did it. And that's what our show's about today. So we're going to bring on our special guest. It's Pete Ciarrocchi. Pete is an entrepreneur. He's an inventor. He's the founder and CEO of Chickies and Petes Crab House and Sports Bar. Pete, welcome to our show.
Wayne, thanks for having me. I'm honored. What an introduction. I hope I fill the shoes that you're expecting me to fill. What's happening?
Well, you've certainly done amazing things in your career in the hospitality industry, the restaurant industry. You've owned sports teams. You've been involved in the Philly sports scene in so many different ways. And we're really excited to have you share your story with our audience at 76 Capital to tell all the things that you've done over your career. So what we do on the show is we start off with your backstory. And I love your backstory. And I know I certainly know it, but I'd love it. And some of the people in the Philadelphia area certainly have heard your story. I'd love to hear your story growing up in Philly.
Well, you know what? First of all, again, I say thanks because a lot of people have been on this stage besides myself, and they were very high-level people. So to be picked to come on your show, I am honored. Northeast Philly guy. Grew up in Northeast Philadelphia, the only Italian in the neighborhood, and just enjoyed going to Northeast High School. As far as education went, that was about where it stopped. And when I was growing up, it was like, where can you get a job at? And college wasn't an opportunity for me. Like, it wasn't even an opportunity. My father had it in the deli business. He was like, you'll go to work. You'll come to me with me. You'll go to work. You'll learn something. And I did learn something, obviously. But so that's where the end of my education went, which I still regret because I always, my children are in college now and fraternities and just to hear what they do and how much fun they have, it sort of makes me jealous. But besides that, it's so much more difficult for me to get through a contract or something else because I don't have the education. Do I know how to work hard? Yeah. Do I know what I'm doing in restaurant business? I think so. Have I been lucky? Very much. So as far as my background, that's where it starts and ends as far as education goes.
Well, how about from a personal or even from a sports perspective? Growing up, did you play sports? Did you love sports? Did you have teams that you loved?
It's funny to say that. I love all sports, but as a kid, I had a problem with my eyesight. So today they have goggles, they have contact lenses, they have different things that you can wear to cover, make it up. When I only had those Clark Kent glasses. And they were heavy, and if they broke, you couldn't get them fixed for like maybe 2 weeks without glasses. And it was sort of embarrassing. 4 eyes, they would call me. And so the only thing I could really play well was football. So football is what I love. So I played varsity football at Northeast High School, and I'm could have continued probably playing football a little bit, although not a star, that's for sure. But I was the defensive lineman, and how tough is that? Guy's got the ball, he's running towards you, grab him from the ground. So that was a sport that I could play. I could play it good because I did have like a mean streak. So I was good at being aggressive. I'm good at playing football. So that's the only sport that I really mastered. And that's what I did through high school.
Well, what about, also, so you played defensive line in football.
Yeah.
Certainly, I mean, I'm sure that it was great to be part of a team and that whole camaraderie. I mean, did you have a certain coach or someone that you really, looked up to or was a great mentor of yours?
Well, I had no great mentors that were coaches. I only had a few coaches. I mean, they were both great guys, and they were men's men. Back then they were. You could hear my coach screaming at me he was up in the booth, and I was down on the field, and you could hear him like he was on the PA system screaming it when I was making mistakes, which was pretty happened a lot. I had my mentors in life would probably just be like my father, who taught me everything I know because I learned it through his deli in our grocery store, our family store. And when I say deli, I'm talking corner deli, Philadelphia, Robbins Avenue, Frankfurt Avenue, little tiny place. You put 12 people in there, you can't move. And my Uncle George and Uncle Bo, I was tight with all three of them. And my Uncle George sort of knew the bar business. I did not. My father did not. When we opened Chickie and Pete's, it was already an existing bar. There was none of us had any experience, none whatsoever. So my father says to me, "What do you think? Wally's is going out of business. What do you think we should do?" He wants to sell it to me. What do you know about the bar business? I'm like 19, 18 at the time. I said, "I know how to drink." He goes, "Anything else?" I go, "No, that's it." Drinking age in New Jersey at that point, 18 years old. You were sneaking in 16 years old. Okay, so I already had a couple of years under my belt and a few belts in me, so I knew. And I just had to sell it to my mom, who's Chickie. A lot of people don't know that. And we go home to tell Chickie, "Listen, Wally's is for sale. Can we purchase it?" Really, she's like, "No way. Your father drinks. He goes there every day. He's only going to drink more." So my father says to her, "Chick, you know what? I hardly even eat any lunch meat." He said, "I'm around it all the time. So if I'm around the booze all the time, I probably will stop drinking." He says, "And you know what? I have an idea. We're going to give you top billing and call it Chickie and Petes." She was flattered. So she's flattered. We wind up buying the place. It was a stand-up bar, no seats. Everybody stood up. There was no seats allowed. There was no women allowed in the bar in 1977. There was no women allowed still. It was an old-time neighborhood place. And yes, she was right. My father did continue to drink. He never got tired of that. But that's how we took the place over, and that's how it became something for me to do. I had no idea what I was doing. It took me 8 years to number the tables. So I just got very fortunate. I was very lucky. I had a lot of mainline people that came in. Like all these people came from far away to drive to Chickie and Pete's to get the crabs. And it was like an hour wait, 3-hour wait. It just happened. A lot of my friends were very helpful in that, supporting me, because it wasn't like you're from Bala or you're from Ardmore and you're going to drive to Robbins Avenue and Frankfurt Avenue. There's a lot of restaurants between here and there, although it was the start of the restaurant revolution. So I was in on the first ground floor.
So it's an incredible story, and I'm so excited to hear, how the name came about. That's incredible.
Well, that's not. So I said Chickie and Pete's, and this is a pretty good story. So this is good for people to listen to. It's actually, if you look, it says Chickies with an S and Pete's. So my father, we ordered a sign for the place, and the sign's going to sit out front, and it's we don't know what we're doing. So we're no branding back then. It's a script sign. It said Chickies with an S and Pete's with an S. And it had like maybe not a wine glass, but perhaps a martini glass on there with a olive in it. It was yellow, red, and black because we thought that was bright. But I was back in the day of the lounges. So the sign comes, and my father says, the guy puts it up. My father's his friend of his all his life. He says, "Frank, what's with the sign?" He goes, "Hey, Peter, you like the sign, eh?" He goes, my father said, No, Frank. The sign, I don't like the sign. It says Chickies and Petes. It's supposed to be Chickie and Pete's. people are going to be driving by and saying, look at the sign. You spelled it wrong. You can't do that. He said, but the sign is up, Pete. What do you want me to do? My father said, listen, he said, I can't have it like that. He said, what can I do to make it good for you, Pete? I don't want to fight it with you, but I know a Chickie is your wife. It's a Chickie's place, and it's a pizza place. He goes, I'll give you, my father's a businessman, right? I'll give you, it was a $1,500 sign. He goes, I'll give you 500. Hey, Pete, I got more than 500 into it, he says. He said, you got to help me out a little bit more. How about $1,000? My father says, no, we're going to have to keep answering this question. And, why is it spelled that way? Well, anyway, they settled on $750. So for $750, we changed the name. And to this day, who knew it was going to be any bigger than a corner bar? Who knew you were going to have all these locations all over the place, around the country? You didn't know. So we still have to answer that. To this day, it wasn't worth the $750. We should have just paid $1,500, got the whole brand new sign, and have been happy with it. But it's funny how things happen. And now it's Chickies and Petes. And when I say Chickie and Petes, they go, you mean Chickies and Petes? So, yeah, that's the story of the name.
That's an amazing story. And we're so lucky to have you here, Pete, on our 76 Capital Leadership Series, the CEO of Chickies and Petes Crab House and Sports Bar, a true entrepreneur, inventor, and founder of this incredible sports bar. So I got to ask you, you're a founder. You're a founder of these incredible fries.
Yeah.
Can you tell us the story of the crab fries?
I got a lot of stories, but crab fry stories is an expensive one. It's a good one, It's a very good story. I ordered again at the end of the season. We used to sell crabs. And that's why all the people from the main line would come. So I ordered crab seasoning, and I think I was out the night before, and I had to make my order. So I just ordered. This was in September. I just ordered what I ordered in August. All right. So, which was a lot of seasoning. Now the season ends beginning of September, mid-September, late September, back in those days. It wasn't like today, we fly them in from around the world, the crabs. But the season sort of stopped at that point. People stopped eating them. It's like water ice type thing. And I had this, and I had all this. My father saw the order come, and he goes, Peter, what is with this order? I said, what's wrong with it? He said, you ordered too much seasoning. We're going to have to sit on this seasoning until next summer. I'm like, Dad, I'm really sorry about that. I just made the same order as August. He goes, it's September. I said, I know. And I said, I'll get rid of it. I'll get rid of the seasoning. I'll do something with it. He goes, what are you going to do with it? So I started playing with French fries and sprinkling, making different seasonings up. Of course, we all our paprikas or this or that, and we make up our own seasoning. We don't buy like a generic thing like an Old Bay or something like that. God forbid. But so I have this seasoning, and I start playing with it, and I would give the fries away to the customers when they came in every day. We had regulars every day. So all these old guys would come in, drink beer, spit, whatever, and I would say, "What do you think of these fries? They're delicious." The next day I would change it. I liked them better yesterday. And then I would work on it until I had to have a seasoning on a potato that no matter, if you notice, if you come to Chickie and Petes, and anybody who watches this, at the stadiums, at the boardwalks, at the restaurants, there's no plain crab fry. It's just crab fries. So they had to be good enough that nobody would refuse them. They couldn't be too spicy so kids could eat them. They had to be spicy enough that adults would like them. And they would make you drink some beer. So it had to have a happy medium. So it took me a while of developing these fries. Now, in the meantime, my father sees me doing it, and he hears about me doing it. He comes in every day, like I said, and says, there's my son, Hollywood. He's going to reinvent French fries. I said, yeah, Dad, the people like them. He's like, why don't you make pot roast or something? Why don't you go in the kitchen and make like a prime rib, and see if that'll sell? I go, Dad, they like these fries. I think I have something here. We might have something here. So I do all these like Penn's Landing, dog and pony shows, and offer these crab fries out. People are like, crab fries, where's the crab? I said, there's no crab, they're $2. I said, you want crab in something? It's going to cost you $12. So it bothered him so much. And my mother would say, Peter, when you leave work, erase the word crab fries off the chalkboard. Because we had a chalkboard back then. Now they're in style again. But the chalkboard. And she said, because your father drives him crazy. It's embarrassing. His friends make fun of him because your sons call him French fries, crab fries. Well, unfortunately, my father passed when I was 30. So he really never got to see any more than one Chickie and Pete's. He didn't see the success of the crab fry. And I'm sure he sees it from where he's at now, but he probably can't wait to see me. So he'd say, yeah, you were right with them things, Hollywood. He called me Hollywood and would like kill me. He would kill me. He would embarrass me all the time. Say, there he is, my son, going to reinvent French fries. Well, we try our best. And to this day, it's a #1 product in the stadiums, in at Wells Fargo Center, at the Philadelphia Phillies games, and at the Link. There's more crab fries sold at the Link, at Chickie and Pete's, than any other food product in any other sport or any stadium in the entire country. So there's more dollars spent on my stuff than any other place in the country.
That's absolutely amazing. And then, yes, I mean, you did it. You did it with fries. You truly reinvented the fries.
Got lucky, man.
So what was it like when being, first of all, earlier in the conversation, you talked about water ice, which I love because
yeah.
We both pronounce it as Philadelphians water, like WOO. And but at the same time, going back a little bit, when you brought in your crab fries into the Veterans Stadium where the Phillies and the Eagles played, what was that like there? Because I'll tell you personally, being at the games and just getting your fries and then having the cheese freeze during games, the cold games, and having to dip the fries in the cheese was the greatest thing ever.
You got to eat faster. You eat faster, it doesn't freeze.
Right.
When I got called, it's a Friday night at Chickie and Pete's. It's in April or end of March. And I get a phone call. And the guy's from Aramark. And he says to me, we want to put crab fries, and a Chickie and Pete's inside the Veterans Stadium. I'm like, what? You're calling me today? It was Good Friday. For anybody who's Catholic, understands Good Friday. It's like a seafood day. People have to eat seafood. The religion dictates you eat seafood, So it's like Passover, you don't eat bread, type thing. So it's the busiest friggin' day for me because I'm a seafood place. And I said, you're calling me I said, you want to talk to me? Call me next week. I said, I'm not going to give you an answer now, but that place is full of rodents. I hang up the phone. I get a phone call back the same night. Listen, can we send you over a contract? And we made a deal. Like I made some numbers up. And in the meantime, I come up with a number, which is a ridiculous number. And they say okay to it. I said, well, send me a fax. I'll have somebody take a look at it. So they sent me the fax. It was the kind of paper that rolls up, one of those things. And I go down to my guys that work with me, the bartenders, and I said, you're not going to believe this. I just got a call from Veterans Stadium from Aramark. They wanted me to take over this place called Winners, where we used to hang at halftime. Me and all my friends went to the games together. They said, what? They want you to take over Winners? I said, Jay, we'll never have to wait in line for a beer. I said, I never even thought of that. He goes, well, I'll be able to buy as many beers as we want. We were only allowed to buy 2 back then. I go, you're right. He said, you can't say no to this. I said, the place is rat infested. It's going to ruin my reputation. Well, they sort of talked me into it. And I said, okay to Aramark. And we've been great partners with them ever since. Now we're in every stadium and other stadiums that are around the country. But it's how it happened was just a freak thing. And it's just how you answer the phone and how you negotiated in that last second that I was able to get them in the stadium. And I never looked back, and I think it was the greatest thing I ever did.
Well, it's incredible, and it's great to have you, on our 76 Capital Leadership Series. Pete is not only, just the founder and CEO of Chickies and Petes Crab House and Sports Bar, but he's a true entrepreneur, inventor, and founder of the crab fries. So it's awesome to have you. Pete, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was. I forgot to say it. At the time, the reason they were so familiar with the crab fries to come to me in the first place was my wife was the Eagles cheerleader. So she worked in the vet. And after every game, she would bring all the cheerleaders to Chickie and Pete's, which I wasn't going to argue about. You've had all these girls in green jumpsuits will come in after every home game, and they were hanging your place. I mean, I'd let them drink for free. I mean, just have that kind of attention. And so she was instrumental in introducing me to the stadium, because she brought the public relations people, followed the cheerleaders. And the stadium had such bad PR at the time that the PR guy said, maybe we should match up with Chickie and Pete's. They have good PR. We have bad PR. They have food. Lisa, can you get us in touch with your boyfriend? Or can you introduce us to the thing? And then we were dating at the time, and that's how it happened. So it's always good to have a cheerleader around.
Absolutely. Amazing stories. And now you're in so many stadiums and so many places all across the country, the number one sports bar in the country. I remember, seeing you in Minneapolis at the Super Bowl with the Eagles and Patriots game, and where you had your stand and you were just holding court there. It was a sight to be seen.
One of the proudest moments of my life was, of course, winning the Super Bowl, just being an Eagles fan and being involved with the Eagles, which we're a proud partner now. I was a proud partner when they won, but the proudest thing was the NFL called me and said, when every two teams are in a Super Bowl, we take a food from each city and we bring it to the stadium. And you have to operate there in Minneapolis. You'll have to operate there. We're choosing crab fries from Philadelphia. I was like blown away. You would think it would be a cheesesteak, right? And we're bringing from Boston Legal Seafood, and they have their clam chowder and clam strips. I don't want to say anything, but crab fries are clam strips. I'm already at advantage, right? So as you go into the stadium, you saw me. I had 2 orders of crab fries in my hand. I'm standing at my stand because it's a contest, and it's who sells more. So not only are the teams competing on the field, and nothing I want to do more than beat the Patriots. Right? They beat us the time before that. They cheated. I'm over it almost. I'll never be over it. But so I have the 2 orders of crab fries, and I'm Pete from Chickie and Petes is here, and I'm like, yeah, crab fries. Where can I get them? And I'm pointing to our stand. Well, I'm not saying, so our side, the line was 100 people. Their side, there was no line. So they start selling my stuff out of their side. Okay. Now to give him credit, that they have a great place and great products, and they're a very good restaurant. But their owner wasn't there. It didn't matter that much to him because they're always in the Super Bowl, I guess. We're first time or second time rather. So I get there and I start selling crab fries. We outsell them 80-1. 80-1. Within 2 weeks of the game being over, first of all, I won that. I won the game, right? The celebration is crazy. I win the game between me and Legal Seafood, and then Minnesota calls us, the stadium calls us and says, listen, we saw the success of the crab fry. Is there any way you would consider putting them in here for good? So till this day, we're still selling crab fries in Minneapolis, Minnesota at Vikings games.
It's an awesome story. Really, really incredible. And it was so surreal seeing you, your friends, so many others just out there, selling and just everyone was just so happy. That was even before the game and then afterwards.
It was going to be there. They came in and here all of a sudden, this is the way I watch an Eagles game with order of crab fries. Now I have it. Now I feel comfortable. And by the way, all my other Philadelphia people there, was a sea of green in front of that stand. It was wonderful. One of the greatest days of my life.
You certainly put yourself in the middle of the Philly sports scene now. You're across so many other scenes across the country within sport. Are there sort of any different athletes or other people that you've become close with that have become friends or business associates that have really helped you grow the brand of Chickies and Petes across the country?
There's many athletes that approach me, and I'm not going to say their names, but there are many athletes that approach me, and if I think I need it, I'm going to go to them to expand with those guys. They see the success of Chickie and Pete's. A lot of the athletes are from Philadelphia area, but I became very friendly with so many. The sad part is they come and they go. You become friends with these guys, and they come and they go. In fact, Jason Peters called me yesterday. It's his birthday on Friday, and he's like, "Can I get a room? I need a room." What do I say no to him? Yeah, he's a giant. But there's going to be a lot of rules and regulations he's going to have to follow if we do it. But it's just like they're my cell phone. My wife goes, "Who's calling?" I go, "Listen, I got to take it. It's Andy Reid. I got to take this. It's Chip Kelly. I got to take this." It's great. It's great because in the real world, where I came from the beginning of this story that we got into today, I'm a zero. I'm a guy who works for his father in a grocery store with no education, and I have a personality. I guess that's about all I have to work with. And to now, I have head coaches calling me. I have football players calling me, basketball players calling, every sport, hockey, and I'm able to expand this little tiny corner bar. The odds of that happening, to open up this place that wins the best sports bar in North America, best sports bar in the country, I'm so fortunate. And it's the staff that I have, my team members, and the way they rally around it, the way they believe in the products. It's not me. It's not me. I'm the guy who looks out the window and daydreams and comes up with ideas like putting seasoning on potatoes. But I don't execute. These guys execute. My staff, my team executes. The guys I have around me execute. The luck of having the wife that's a cheerleader. All these things have to fall into place to really make it from where I'm coming from. So I'm very fortunate to be where I'm at today. And again, and I'm getting interviewed by you, Wayne. I mean, think the guys from Northeast High School are getting interviewed by Wayne Kimmel. Come on.
Well, thank you. And it really is an honor to have you, Pete. I mean, look, Chickies and Petes it's just part of the overall culture and fabric of Philadelphia, now all across the country. The expansion that you've done, and I was talking with Roger the other day, and we were talking about what you're doing in Las Vegas now. Talk about the expansion all across the country.
Yeah, well, we're moving. This has slowed us up a little bit this year, of course, but we've taken a look. We're trying to take on this sports betting, and as we see, what do we know about sports betting? Everybody who bets sports watches sports. It's the same person. There's some people who watch sports and don't bet, okay? But everyone who bets watches. So Vegas saw that and said, we're going to bring you out there, and we're going to be in Vegas, and we're going to be the first sports bar with a sports book inside the sports bar. So it fills two voids. It fills, it helps me from keeping my customers from getting up and walking to a sports book. And it stops them from having to build a sports book with all these TVs because they can just come in my place. So it's a great, it's an interesting time in my business.
Yeah, well, look, it's really exciting to see what you've done. Again, how you've taken, the world of being a restaurateur, bar owner, sports bar owner, bringing that in within the sports world, being so connected. I mean, just walking into any of your stores, you see the pictures of you, and as you said, head coaches and athletes and politicians and business people. I mean, everyone knows Pete, and that's why we're so to have you on our show.
Most of them wish they didn't know me, but it's good. It's good.
Well, let's just, you touched on this a little bit, earlier. You talked about what it helped, some of the things that helped you become successful. You talked about your team. We talk about that a lot on our 7 Capital Leadership series, about how it's important to have a great team, how it's important to, be incredibly passionate like you are and be driven and have that incredible desire to make things happen. And that's one of the, we such interesting parallels between the world of sports, which is the same kind of, you need those same kind of traits to be successful, but you need those same kind of traits to be successful in business, because no one's just going to give it to you. No one's just going to come in and give you money. You really got to work for it. You got to fight for it, and you got to be really special. So, what were some of your experiences in around, really building this business when, there were others that wanted to be the #1 sports bar in America, but you've been able to do that?
Well, there's no one thing, as you can only figure out, but it's one of the things that might have helped me was having no previous experience or past experience in a restaurant. So I didn't know what I was doing. I had nowhere to go but up. I mean, this place that I had taken over was like just literally a smoke haven, and it was good to try to learn. I mean, I was a one-man show. I used to cook, bartend, and be the waiter. I did all 3 jobs. I was one person. So as I had to hire people, I wasn't a boss. I didn't know how to be like a manager. I mean, I really didn't know what I was doing. So that's a difficult thing to teach yourself, to become a manager. And we all need management, and we need teams. So I always looked at it as coaching. And you have to coach. You're a coach. So you're coaching your managers are coaching your team. The coaching, I'd like to say, listen, Tiger Woods is the greatest, right, of all time, right, golfer. He travels with a coach everywhere, trainer. So no matter how, football players, you don't think that Aaron Rodgers knows what to do? He knows what to do. But he still has a coach. Tells him what to do every day and rides him every day. And the coach is on him. They almost sleep with these guys. And even yourself, Wayne, you're driving down 95, right? You're going 75, 80 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour. You know the speed limit's only 55. But yeah, who's looking, right? You're going to cheat a little bit. And everybody will do this. And you'll cheat. And you could kill yourself by going too fast. You can cause another kind of accident. You can get a ticket, which make your insurance go up. And you're still willing to take that chance. But then you see a cop. And you see the cop out of your corner of your eye. What do? You take your foot off the gas, right? You hit the brake, hope he doesn't see your brake lights, and you go slow. So what's the cop? The cop's a coach. He's a life coach for Wayne Kimmel. We all need somebody over us telling us. Me, at my stage of the game, I don't have anybody over me now, but I have people that are with me. Roger that you spoke of, the Joe Carpinellas, that I'm able to share my thoughts with and make decisions before I make the decision. So I think coaching, and if you look at a team and you look at business, they're extremely similar. They're almost identical. Because, yes, if you walk out of your store and let some people just run away with it, they'll do whatever they want. Because even if somebody like you, Wayne, will go faster than 55, taking all those chances, so will somebody else. Let me take this bottle, or let me not be nice to this customer. You have to be there. You really have to be there. And if you're only one person like me, you have to develop a team and team members that will carry on what you believe and the way you would like it to be done. So sports and business, to me, are the same.
Well, that's very well said. And when you think about that, and I think about business, and think about where the world is today, pandemic.
Think about speeding too. Thinking about speed a little bit too.
That's right. I got to slow down now. But I mean, but in business, look, in a business situation, you're taking that risk. You're trying to do something that other people have never before. So,
right.
When you think about what's next in the business world for you, Pete, and for Chickies and Petes, do you think what are some of the things that you're thinking about that are the next thing that are going to be happening within the restaurant world?
Well, I think one of the things from before that I didn't finish was that I forgot to bring up was, having the products that no one else has. Okay. I could take you into 25, 30 bars in Center City right now. You're going to see Brussels sprouts, pork belly, and schmelly belly. Not that that's bad stuff. I'm just saying it's a similar menu. We have things that we own, like crab fries. We are the only ones who serve a lobster pizza, white lobster. I was on Oprah years ago because of the white lobster pizza and the crabs. So you have to come up with the thing that's unique to you and then do it well and continue to do it well. Lobster cheesesteak. Who makes Nobody else makes a lobster cheesesteak. Nobody else makes crab fries. Nobody else makes white lobster pizza. These are things that make people love Chickie and Petes, like yourself when you had your 25th birthday there?
Is that my 40th, right? I can believe that.
Yeah, I know it was your 40th. I was trying to cut you a break. But,
Thank you. Thanks. That's a great in itself. When my wife threw me that party, that was incredible. And I'll never coming up to me. You came up to me before the party and you said, I put on my jacket to get dressed. There was like these Secret Service walking around here. What was that all about? Or earlier today to check the place out, if you remember.
Yeah, I do. Well, sometimes very important people come in there and they have to come in first. And they thought you were coming in, Wayne. So I said, that's not Jimmy Kimmel, Wayne Kimmel. You know what I mean? They said, he's the more important one, Wayne. He's got more money. So anyway, this is the way that to keep you got to keep what you are, true to yourself. So inventing products, getting into the sports more with the betting, trying to establish ourselves in that gambling part, and trying to stay true. Like some guys like myself, they're so, like I have a sports bar, right? So they start going out to eat at like these real expensive restaurants, and they would start going to Steven Starr and this and that, and they go to these other restaurants, which are very good. They're excellent. And they all of a sudden want to become them. Okay? And like Michael Schultz is tremendous, right? But I got to remember who I am. I'm Pete from Chickie and Petes. I'm sure Michael, if you asked him, he'd say, I love Chickie and Petes. And I would say, I love Giuseppe's and I love all your places. So, but you have a problem in my industry where people are their own problem because they decide that they don't want to be who they are anymore because now they have more money, so they go to better places. And I go here now, I go there now. Oh, I like it there. Maybe I should start putting sushi on my menu. It happens. And then people dig a hole and then it ruins their business because they want to be something they're not. It does, in places like, then you can go to the other end of the spectrum, like Chipotle. It's Chipotle. You know what it is? They're not saying I want to sell. The owner of Chipotle might go to a couple fancy restaurants and he wants to start selling sushi. That doesn't work. Stay with who you are. And that's the way the business if you want to stay in business, if you're successful, don't forget who you are. The industry is going digital. I think getting employees to work for you, getting team members to come on board is difficult. We're fortunate because we're Chickie and Petes, so people know, and we have 401ks and health benefits and all that stuff. So some other places, some mom and pop, they want to get cash. I mean, a lot of these services want to eat, want to get cash and just work in some corner place, not be on the books and do that. So I think as technology becomes big, that'll help our industry. And I just think all the people that we have today, we're fortunate to keep getting more people the same, through having a popularity. But else, a lot of these places are going to close after this pandemic. The government's helping people out, but they're going to close, and then people are going to buy them, and they're going to try to reopen because there's people are making money, not necessarily in my business, but in other businesses. So, I'm sure they want to put their name on a place and call it Wayne and Shirley's or something. Who knows?
Oh, I think Kimby, my wife. We're not doing that. That's not our business. That's business. So excited to have you on our show.
Wayne, I want to thank you for letting me grace the stage with so many famous people. You had my buddy Joe Asher on last week or a couple of weeks ago. My man, love that guy, and a lot of other people. So I'm really honored. Like I said, little Northeast Philly guy to get on your show. I love it. This podcast is important. Thank you for having me, and don't forget, luck is key.